A good day and erev Shabbos, everybody. Rabbi Schwartz calling you here on tour, taking a few minutes away break so that I can record this incredible video for you. It's been a busy, crazy week coming back from America, and now I'm here in the holy city of Tzfas because this crazy rabbi who came back Monday night, had to go straight to Yerushalayim, Tuesday tour, Wednesday night, come up with a family, and now it's Friday, erev Shabbos Hagadol, and I'm still touring, Baruch Hashem, making up for lost time, and I'm in my favorite art store with my beautiful Gendelman picture behind me over here. Incredible art, incredible inspiration. And we come to Shabbos Hagadol. And I just wanted to share with you a great quick story idea. But Shabbos Hagadol, we're told, is a special Shabbos because this is the Shabbos that commemorates the tremendous strength that the Jewish people had before they left Mitzrayim. Hashem commanded them on the 10th of Nisan, Mishchu ukechu lachem tzon, take a sheep, tie it to the posts of your bed, and that will go ahead and prepare you to bring the Korban Pesach, the Pesach offering. 4 days later, they would go ahead and bring it on the 14th of Nisan, right before Pesach, and that's how they merited exile. So the Shabbos is called Shabbos Hagadol, and it is commemorating that incredible miracle. Yesterday, I was by the Yarden, by the Jordan River, and I told them, the Jordan River, the miracle of Yoshua crossing the Yarden was on the 10th of Nisan as well. And yet, the reason why we celebrate Shabbos Hagadol on Shabbos, which we do for no other holiday, by the way, no other holiday is on the day of the week that it took place, is so that we don't get it confused with the holiday, the miracle of Yoshua, the miracle of Joshua, that he crossed the Jordan River and he split the Jordan River just like Moshe, because a greater miracle took place, the miracle of us taking this sheep, the miracle that we performed. What is this tremendous miracle? Now, I want to talk a little bit about the Korban Pesach because I saw such an incredible and powerful idea. Because the Korban Pesach, what is it? Is it a sheep or is it a goat? Right? We find that you can take either one because the Torah says, Mishku kulam tzon, take small cattle, right, is really tzon, which could be sheep or goat. And in fact, we could take either one. But what's better, sheep or goats? On Pesach Seder, we sing Chad Gadia, one little goat, right? We have the mitzvah of Magid. It seems that there's goat, but at the other time we find other places that they brought a fascal lamb. A Korban Pesach is a lamb. Which one is it? And why would there be both? And what's better to take? If I have an option, should I take a goat or should I take a sheep? Which one should I take? Lamb chops or goat chops? Right? So there's an incredible Gemara. The Gemara talks about this Kohen. His name was Yisachar Bar Kai. And when he would he was a Kohen Gadol. And he went ahead and he would do the service. He was a very, very finicky person. And he would wear gloves when he did the service because he didn't want to get his hands dirty. And it says, what happened to this guy? It says the king and the queen, who was, according to some, Alexander Yanai at the end of the Second Temple after the Hanukkah story. And this king, Alexander Yanai, and his wife had a fight. What's better, lamb chops or goat chops? And the queen said, what do you mean lamb is much better? It's more delicious. And the king said, no, goats are better. And they said, well, you know who we should ask? We should ask the Kohen Gadol, because after all, he busy with this stuff all the time. He would know what's a better sacrifice to bring. And so what does he do? They bring in Yisachar Kohen Gadol, and Yisachar Kohen Gadol goes, lamb, goat. Lamb is much better. That's what's brought for about more sacrifices. We find the lamb chops are better. And because he just went like this with his hand, the king said, what type of chutzpah is it? First of all, he ruled against me. Never do that. Don't argue with the king. Big rule in life, right? But because you just waved with your hand, I'm going to send you to your punishment now is the executioner is going to come and chop off your right hand. What happens? He goes to the executioner and he bribes the guy to chop off his left hand instead. And the executioner chops off his left hand. Later on, the king finds out what happens. He says, you know what? I told you the right hand, now you chopped off the right hand also. And that's what happens to this Yisachar Kohen Gadol Bar Kai. So it's this interesting, strange story. What's going on here? Why is it chopping off hands? What's the goat, the sheep? Why is the Gemara telling us this story? So the third Lubavitcher Rebbe, the Mittler Rebbe, has an incredible idea. He says, you know what the difference between sheep and goat are? They're both flock and they're both capable, but they're almost opposites in some way. Sheep is like sheep to the slaughter. They're very docile. They just follow the rules. They just do what's right. You go like sheep. Goats, on the other hand, are something else. They're A's. They're they're brazen. They will go ahead and they have chutzpah. They'll, he's like a wild goat. You see goats climbing up mountains on the edges of cliffs. I've seen lots of goats today, and all week long I've been driving around in the Shomron. You see goats all over. I said, let's take one for a carbon Pesach. Amir Hashem, we should bring it, right? So there's goats are much more brazen, and they're much harder. They buck the trend. That's why they're called bucks almost. They represent two different types of Jews, we're told. We're told that a Jew or personality types. There's some people that are like sheep. Yaakov is compared like a sheep, right? He's a docile, he's a seh, right? The Jewish people just follows the laws. He's ish tam, he's a seh tmimim, he's pure. On the other hand, when he wants to dress up like Esav, he puts goat skins on his hand. Esav is the rebel. Esav is the one that will go ahead and, fight against everything, buck the trend and this and that. And that's the midah of Esav. Rivka, the mother or the queen in the story, she likes Yaakov. She comes from a house of Avodah Zarah. She comes from Lavan's house. She comes where, and she needs somebody that just follows and does the mitzvahs in a straight, easy way. She likes Yaakov better. Yitzchak, on the other hand, who's a midah of strength and power and gevura, he likes Esav because he understands that Esav has that thing to go against his nature, to go against everything, and he could become the Baal Tshuva. He's the one that can really lift up the world because the Baal Tshuva could become even greater than the tzaddik is, the one that doesn't have those challenges, those things in life. And those are the king and the queen. And that is what the goat and the sheep is, and that's what their debate is. The Kohen Gadol, his role is to do what? To not find the pure, but to be mitaher. This week we read Parshat Metzora. The job of the Metzora, the Kohen, is to be mitaher, to go in to purify, to go out of the camp and to lift the Jewish people up, to get your hands dirty. That's what the job of the Kohen Gadol is, to go in and to lift and to purify. This Kohen Gadol does not want to get his hands dirty. He comes to the king and the queen and they say to him, which is better? He goes to sheep. What do I got to be busy with goats all day? With the guys that are losing the trend? Right? Interestingly enough, we have two goats that are brought by the Yom Kippur offering, and they represent the sin and the tshuva. We cast away the sin, and we have the strength to be brought ourselves up to the Beis HaMikdash. And he says the goat is better. And so what does the king say? I'm going to chop off your right hand, because the right hand is the one that's supposed to draw people near. Right? The Yad Yamin should be bringing back the Balei Tshuva. Right? The Kohen says, chop off my left hand. Right? That's the one to push things away, get rid of, all the bad Jews. Chop off my left hand, and said, but at least my right hand I should have. And he says, no, you're going to lose both hands, because the Kohen Gadol has to be able to do both, to raise both together. On the Carbon Pesach, our job is to go ahead and bring each Jew, different personality type, to be able to take our forces, to take our powers, our challenges, our personalities, and dedicate them all to Hashem. To mishchu ukechu lachem, take from within you, take your personality, take whatever influence you had from Egypt. Because there's some Jews that are just following Egyptians, that are assimilating, because that's just like sheep to the slaughter. And then there are some Jews that are the opposite, that they're rebelling against the ways of their father, and they're going out and doing what they... Take both of those Jews, and take those natures, and bring them and tie them to your bedpost. What does it mean, tie them to your bedpost? You know what the bed is? The bed means that you're going to sleep and you're counting sheep. You're bad. I am jet lagged right now. I'm working on 3 hours of sleep a night. But imagine if I had a sheep baying all night long, or a goat baying all night long. For 4 days before the Carbon Pesach, that's all they heard were these sounds and this and that, tied to their bed and saying, I'm going to work on it, I'm going to shecht it, I'm going to slaughter it, I'm going to sanctify it, and I'm going to put that blood on my doorpost. And I'm going to go ahead and say that from now I can bring out the inner me, and then I can be redeemed. Shabbos Hagadol is when we became Gedolim, when we matured, when we became the Gadol that we could become, the greatest that we become. And that's the miracle that we performed, not that Hashem performed. Greater than the splitting of the sea. And that's what Shabbos is all about. I want you to have an incredible Shabbos Hagadol, an incredible Pesach, and even have the most enjoyable Pesach by buying my Pesach book. You can still get it. Don't wait. Right? You have 1 week left. It can be shipped out to you. The most enjoyable book you'll ever read about Pesach. It's $20 for one, $36 for both. We'll have it shipped to you. It's in my brother-in-law's house in Muncie. So don't hesitate. Message me today. Have a great Shabbos. And again, you can sponsor these weekly videos. Subscribe to my weekly email, rabbischwartz@yahoo.com.